Good morning, everyone. Colleagues, friends, excellencies, it's again a pleasure for me. Sorry, I have to take this. It's again a pleasure for me to be here with you. And it's not my first time here attending the annual conference of GivaTraViva, and it won't be the last time. So it's always a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. So thank you very much. Since I'm kind of a cosmopolitan, a German, a European, now living and working in Israel, I would like to start my remarks to you talking a bit about Europe and what is happening in Europe and what is, from my point of view, my concern. The recent refugee influx to Europe, together with the effects of the financial crisis, the austerity policies, and globalization, has the potential to change European societies domestically and even beyond the nation state. The major challenge for policymakers in Europe and other societies will be how to maintain social and political cohesion under these conditions. The future of liberal, tolerant, and inclusive democracy, as we know it, will depend on the political action that will prevail given the rising right-wing populism and their tribal ethnic politics, which always place some group of a society against others. However, we must strive to make democracy more resilient and more just, and thus build a defense against exclusionary politics. I would therefore like to congratulate GivaTraViva for presenting a policy concept to us which gives a new and a different perspective on how to overcome political, social, and cultural inequality in our societies. And this policy concept is called shared society. The endorsements of two presidents, President Obama and President Rivlin, as well as the participation of so many political and civil society leaders from all spheres of the Israeli society, are a clear sign of the importance of such an approach in these challenging times. All of these leaders have recognized the main task they and the society are facing, namely to champion the importance of building shared societies and making the case for it, politically, ethically, and economically. Over 90% of the countries in the world today have a minority population of at least 10%. Israel is no exception. The reasons for this diversity vary. Sometimes it is the result of migration, elsewhere it may be a consequence of colonization in the past. One needs to recognize that the particularities of each situation may differ, but I believe that there must be a common goal of finding ways in which members of different communities can live in harmony with each other. All of us here in the room, and hopefully beyond, cherish and value a socially cohesive society, a stable society, safe and just, based on the promotion and protection of human rights, of non-discrimination and tolerance, a society that respects diversity, equality and opportunity, solidarity, security, and participation of all people, including disadvantaged and vulnerable groups and individuals. In such a society, all residents can feel at home and are able to make their contribution to the community. A society where these conditions exist, or where they are being actively and inclusively sought, is one that is called a shared society. In order to work for a shared society, we need to have a greater understanding of the benefits of social inclusion and the incentives and means to act in order to advance it. Practical experiences and academic research have identified the following basic principles that underlie a shared society. The first principle is the need for mutual respect for the dignity of each one of the members of a society, even though They may speak different languages, may follow different religions, and may even look differently. Respect itself is built on knowledge and understanding of the other, and there's a need for creating positive opportunities to meet and know the other in order to build respect. In return, respect makes people aware of the needs of others and the ways in which their rights may be overlooked or ignored. This leads to a second and third principle: equality of opportunity and the absence of discrimination. If these basic rights are guaranteed, people are more secure and less likely to feel threatened by the state or by other sections of the community. And fourthly, only democratic participation is able to provide the best kind of structures and institutions for ensuring that all sections of the community are able to speak for themselves and express their needs. These four principles are references that must be the basis for our work on and for social cohesion. The nucleus of working for a shared society is the political leadership and the creation of political will to pursue an inclusionary policy. Political leaders are critical in determining if a society is inclusive and shared, or if it excludes and marginalizes people and denies them opportunity. Political leadership is important for reassuring people and challenging those who appeal to and exploit the fears of communities who do not know each other well. Political leadership is also required to take initiatives and act in ways that show an inclusive approach. Political leadership is needed to make the argument that society is a better place for everyone if everyone embraces diversity, even if it is initially challenging. Of course, political leaders cannot achieve all this on their own. All sections of society have to play a part in it. There are many examples of civil society groups working to improve community relations and bringing marginalized sections of the population into the mainstream, and many of you are taking part in these efforts. But those efforts will be limited if the political leadership is not supportive. In many societies, we find that it is not sufficiently supportive, and in these cases, we need to look at why this is the case and how it can be changed. So, besides the political and ethical arguments which I made so far in order to promote a shared society concept, I would also like to focus more a bit in the last minute which remains to me on the economic arguments of social inclusion and for social inclusion, which seems obvious in a way, but are very often overlooked. So, if sections of the society are marginalized, they will contribute less to the economy. They will have poorer education and limited skills to contribute. They have less capital to invest, and recent studies by the World Bank shows and suggest that the countries which are considered to be inclusive societies have seen their economic growth and their gross domestic product rise over the past 10 years of roughly 20%, much more than those countries which are not considered to be exclusive. To be inclusive, sorry. Excluded groups may also be less willing to contribute to a society which they feel does not respect them and treat them as full citizens. They may go further even and resist the status quo, and it may cost the state a good deal of its resources to maintain security and stability. The state may resort to increased security measures, such as enlarged security forces, enhanced equipment for the security services, larger and stronger prisons. But it comes at an additional price. Domestic and even more so foreign capital is unlikely to invest in a society if it seems unstable and tensions are high. It should be made clear by now, I hope, that marginalized and vulnerable groups are not a drain on the economy, particularly in a world which has faced financial meltdown and with continued high unemployment and where people feel more insecure. Rather, their inclusion creates new opportunities for them and the society and raises welfare levels for everyone. In such a society, which is not inclusive, it is of utmost importance to make the case that diverse societies, which are cohesive and inclusive, make economic sense and not only political and ethical sense. Cooperation is always better than conflict. Cooperation is more cost-effective and beneficial in every way to invest in building shared societies. This is the argument political leaders should focus on and exercise political leadership. But political leaders cannot replace the contribution of individuals in their own communities and the work of international and civil society organizations. Political leadership often needs to be an enabling leadership, which encourages or makes it possible for attitudes and behaviors to change and for communities to act. And what I said about political leaders is also relevant to those in leadership positions in civil society, of course. One final word, and my time is up. Social inclusion is about all of us. It is about each one of us individually, as citizens, as bearers of human rights. It is not about fitting the others in, but about building a common ground where all of us feel safe to develop our potential and contribute with our differences. Thank you very much.